Well, it's Tuesday, and you all know what that means. As you probably know, NXT has entered its fallout after Stand and Deliver from WrestleMania weekend. As you probably can know, we already crowned brand new champions. Of course, Hank and Tank are our brand new tag team champions, defeating Fraxium. So Ruka won the Women's North American Championship in a ladder match against five others, but also Obafemi, Ricky Starks, and Stephanie Vakir remain as our respected champions as the North American champion, NXT champion, and the NXT Women's champion. But the real question we ask ourselves when it comes to these type of things, where do we go next? Well, that's a good question because we know there'll be challengers lurking from behind, ready to take their shot. So we'll be going from A to Z on this one. But first things first, we're going to be doing two back-to-back reviews from the same promotion. And this one is from Seattle-based promotion DEFY Wrestling. Before WrestleMania week, DEFY Wrestling had their show of course, in their respective territory in Seattle with a Streets of Rage featuring many matches, but the main event features the DEFY tag team titles defended. Sinner and Saint defend their titles against the members of course, Dragon Gate promotion. So we'll see how that rolls up. And then, of course, we have the other one they did during WrestleMania week, where, of course, Live and Proof, the tag team belts and the world title are also defended. So we're going to go from A to Z on those shows as well. But as always, we will cap up our episode with the usuals of our news updates, with give you guys updates on what's been happening in the world of wrestling, such as what events the promotions are thrown out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to the Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK. Anywhere in the world pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-time news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us, so click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or nice comments in the description down below. Now, enough with the pleasantries, so buckle up. Let's begin with our first review, and this is the first out of from the Seattle-based promotion, DEFY Wrestling with Streets of Rage. Okay, DEFY Wrestling with Streets of Rage. Those who are not familiarized with this promotion, if you're new to the channel, this promotion is based out of Seattle, Washington. Yes, folks, this is one of the hottest promotions based out of that territory. I even commented on them a couple years ago, and they appreciate what I say about them, that they have great things that they do. So they do. You may recognize talent from anywhere from AEW or TNA or mostly in independents in general. But we also get wrestlers that should be seen from New Japan, Dragon Gate, and other places. So, but this is one of their events during in their Seattle-based area with Streets of Rage that took place back on the what was it, on the 12th, or I think, yeah, on the 12th. I believe, no, the 13th. So basically, this is we opened up with a three-way tag match. We have, of course, Midnight Heat, Ricky Gibson, and Eddie Pearl. They take on Ishin and Ho Ho Lun, who represent Dragon Gate. And of course, we have C4, consisting of Cody Chun and Guillermo Rosas. So, of course, those who know who they are, of course, Ishin and Ho Ho Lun, they're representing, of course, Dragon Gate. But when it comes to Midnight Heat, as you know, recently they've been told by the commentators that these guys are trying to make their way back into the tag team contingencies, but they have a hurdle they have to go through. Well, one is this one. But of course, they have been known to cheat their way through. But luckily, in this match, it was Ho Ho Lun who picked up the win onto Eddie Pearl by pinning him, and then just like that, 1, 2, 3, over. However, during the post-match promo, Eddie Pearl decided to go on a temper tantrum because he's pissed off that he felt that he got screwed in this match. And then he goes out cursing out, saying that he and, of course, Ricky Gibson, his tag partner, will be the ones to end Rock and Roll Express and retire them permanently. So we'll see what happens. That match will happen in the Living Proof event that we will, of course, review. Our next match, we have El Phantasmo versus Mance Warner. Now, some of you may think, okay, is El Phantasmo knows what he's doing? We know Mance Warner, he is a guy who's not playing any games whatsoever. I mean, he's a bit violent. He will try to hurt you more than possible. However, this match ended in a double disqualification. Basically, they both hit each other with chairs, and that caused that. But however, of course, the match went on with, of course, once the post-match promo began, of course, Phantasmo and LP and, of course, Mance Warner continued to fight. You can hear fans saying, you know, let them fight, let them fight. I mean, yeah, why not? But it did not go that way. But however, Mance Warner has a hurdle he has to go through on the Living Proof in Las Vegas. He's facing off against Kenta. So we'll see where that happens. Our next match, we have a guy named Miles DeVille taking on Randy Myers. This guy Randy Myers, he's kind of interesting, guys. He comes out dressed up like the Joker. But yeah, I thought it was a pretty interesting thing. But I wasn't too sure much. I did hear that Randy Myers was the first ever DEFY World Champion, which makes sense. But one thing that led to this match, how it ended, you know how they say, you dropped the ball. Well, Miles DeVille thought he had this match won, but instead of try to focus on Myers, he decided to tell the ref, hey ref, it's three. Well, he dropped the ball, and Randy Myers actually put him in a backslide, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, done. So, well, DeVille should have paid attention, but nope. He was more concerned telling the ref, you counted wrong. Well, too bad. Next up, we have the Battle of Technical Wrestling. If you don't know what I'm talking about, we have Timothy Thatcher versus Zack Sabre Jr. This is technical wrestling at its best. So I was so amazed how this was going to go. Of course, I had anticipated that this match either will won by knockout or submission. I wasn't too sure because these guys are excellent in their styles. I mean, you look at Zack Sabre Jr. If you guys know his what he's dubbed himself as the Technical Wizard. That played out exactly beautifully for him because Thatcher was attempting to apply some sort of leg lock onto him, but somehow Zack Sabre Jr. was able to overturn it and turn it into an armbar, and of course, Timothy Thatcher had no choice but to tap. And I thought it was a beautiful moment. Our next match, we have a three-way match in the women's division. We have Nicole Matters versus Vert Vixen versus Amira. Now, nothing too special about this, but of course, the stipulation you might ask, is this led to maybe somebody will probably challenge for the DEFY Women's World Championship, which is currently in the possession of Marina Shafir. If you guys know her, she is part of Death Riders with Moxley. Well, not I don't think it does, but it kind of feels like it could step into it. But however, this match ended with, of course, Amira applying a corkscrew slam onto Nicole Mathers, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, over. Next up, we have a bit of a heavyweight style type. We have the heavyweight hustle, Calvin Tankman versus Gabe Kidd. Now, you know this is going to be a hoss fight at his best in any way possible. I mean, Gabe Kidd, he's shown exactly who he is. He's always talked, but he always backs it up no matter what. Calvin Tankman always backs it up too. But the real question, who was going to take down who? Well, I think many people might have assumed Gabe Kidd would do it. Well, that's exactly what he did. And of course, Gabe Kidd put him away with the pile driver. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, he was done. However, Gabe Kidd had something to say to Calvin Tankman, because he said something, "I heard what you said about me, you little bitch." So basically, he's not done with them yet. So he said he'll see him soon. So we'll see what happens. Now, our main event, this is for the DEFY Tag Team Championships. We have the challengers coming from Dragon Gate, Suzumu Yokosuka and KZ, who, if you guys know this or not, Yokosuka used to be part of the Natural Vibes for KZ. But now, they face the tag champions, Sinner and Saint, Judas Ikara, and Travis Williams, who you guys know them as part of the Northern Armory, along with Eric Young in TNA. So, of course, there's going to be some moments in this match, but however, both Icarus and Williams are known as Sovereign, with another guy named Evan Rivers, who also was by their side in this match. Now, of course, X Factor, he was going to interfere, but, of course, he did, but Icarus tapped out. The referee did not see this, but this allowed, of course, for Sinner Saint to walk away with the win when they put KZ in the Onto the Fallen, and just like that, Icarus picked up the pinfall. 1, 2, 3, they retain their titles. So, yeah, real bummer that douchebag Evans got involved. So, sooner or later, someone's going to have to take him out. But for now, that's how things ended here for, of course, Streets of Rage by DEFY Wrestling. Let's move on with the next one that took place in Las Vegas, Living Proof. Okay. Again, with DEFY Wrestling, we continue on with Living Proof. This took place on the 17th of April. This was during the time of WrestleMania week. So, if anybody asks, I don't know if this is part of the collective, I believe, but anyway. So, yeah, so that's what happened. Now, the first opening match is 6-man tag team match. We have the Bollywood boys, Gerv and Harv. They team up with Galeno del Mal. They take on C4, Cody Chun and Guillermo Rosas. They team up with, of course, the man, the myth, the legend, Negro Casas. That's right. If you guys know who he is, Negro Casas has been a long-time veteran wrestler, wrestled with CML. Currently, he is also working right now with AAA. So it's great to see him involved. But now, this is going to be a real interesting match. But the one thing that was surprising is the ending out of this match for me. There was a triple magistral. Basically, C4 and Negro Casas put their opponents on in the magistral, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, done. It's over. Now, before the next match, we did see Randy Myers come out, do a little promo, act his usual ways. But however, for some odd reason, he was attacked by Evan Rivers. Like, what the hell, man? Why did you attack him? I think Evan Rivers is like saying, we don't need this common nonsense, so enough with the BS. But his what he did will soon come back and bite him. So one way or the other, that's going to happen. So anyway, let's move on to, of course, to the next match. Our next match is a 6-woman tag team match. Team number 1, we have Nicole Mathers, we have Liza Hall, and Riho. Not Riho, Riho. This is RHIO. So Rio actually will be in this match. They take on Amira, Vert Vixen, and Viva Vat. Now, those who know this, there's been a lot of tensions between both Rio and Vert Vixen. It seems that these two ladies are looking for a way to, of course, insert themselves back into the DEFY Women's Championship contingency. But the real question is who's going to be involved. Of course, there were going to be those two going to butt heads no matter what. They even left the ring, leaving their respected partners to do their mess. But in the end, it was in fact Viva Van who picked up the win with Nicole Mathers, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, over. So for Vixen, Amira, and of course Viva Van, they picked up the win. Now our next match, we have Michael Oku taking on the most despicable bastard coming from New Japan. We're talking about Evil. Yes, of course. But luckily he did not have those losers with him. Of course, the House of Losers. They basically are stuck in Japan. But yes, but Michael Oku, I have to say, in this match, he took every beating, every hit as a champ. But of course, you know when it comes to Evil, he thinks that he is the Shishme. He thinks that he's all that. Well, he eye gouged, low blowed, until finally Michael Oku's body finally gave out. Evil applied the everything is evil, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Then once again, Evil, being that cocky bastard that he is, he decided to put Michael Oku in a sharpshooter, but the referee tells him enough is enough. Even, of course, Michael Oku's girlfriend tried to help him, but he was about to harm him. If he did put his hands on her, I'm sure someone's going to beat the crap out of him for that. Now, our next match, we have a three-way tag team match for the DEFY Tag Team Belts. Team number 1, we have Lyco's Gym, consisting of Lyco Kid 1 and Lyco Kid 2. That they face against, coming from Dragon Gate, Hayon and Sumu Yokosuka. Once again, he's in this match. They take on Sinner and Saint, Judas Ikra, and Travis William with Evan Rivers in tow. Now, of course, many of you would know he was going to get involved. But luckily, because of what he did earlier in the event, well, Randy Myers got his pound of flesh and took him out. But however, of course, this would lead, of course, maybe a possibility of a fair match. But unfortunately, things didn't go exactly according to plan. Maybe people would have hoped that Sinner and Saint would lose the tag belts, but however, they didn't. They applied the onto the fallen to Hayon, but the pinfall was picked up by Williams, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, they retained the championships. Sad shame. Now our next match, we have Kenta versus Mance Warner. Now, of course, the Southern Psycho would do whatever it takes to bring down Kenta, but Kenta, he refuses to stay down no matter what. But you probably can guess how this match ended. Well, Kenta gave Mance Warner the go to sleep, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, done. Now our next match, this is the battle of the present versus the past. We have Midnight Heat, Eddie Pearl, and Ricky Gibson. They take on Rock and Roll Express. What's his name? Ricky Morton, and of course, Robert Gibson. So now, as you guys remember, I mentioned in the Streets of Rage, Midnight Heat claims that they're going to be the ones to retire the Rock and Roll Express. But however, we have seen over time, at the age of what the Rock and Roll Express are, they are fighters to the end, no matter what. And they always back it up. While Midnight Heat are all talk, but the old saying goes, can they walk the walk? And that's exactly what they were trying to do. But however, in the end, well, Ricky Gibson ended up on the wrong side of Ricky Morton's Canadian Destroyer, but it was picked up by the pinfall by, of course, Robert Gibson, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, over, just like that. Now our next match, we have the DEFY World Championship. Clark Connors, who is the current champion, who actually won it during a vacancy, if you guys remember. Ricky Starks, or better known as in NXT Ricky Saints, had to vacate the championship due to the fact that of his signing with NXT. So basically, they crowned a new champion, and of course, they have Clark Connors. But Clark Connor makes his first official defense against two others in a three-way. First, we have Man Like the Reese, and of course, LP, El Phantasmo. So you know this was going to be interesting. Now, of course, LP knows Clark Connors very well because I'm sure that he hasn't forgotten what, of course, the War Dogs did to him last time. But of course, when it comes to three ways, you know that this is one of those matches where, of course, Clark Connors technically doesn't need to be pinned. But however, Clark Connors was able to overcome every odd when he applied the no chaser onto man like Therese, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, he retained the title. So we don't know what's next from here. Don't know when the next pay-per-view by DEFY will take place. Hopefully soon, but we'll see what happens here on out. So we are officially done with DEFY. Let's move on with our next review, and that is, of course, our last one, NXT. NXT. As you know, I said this earlier, NXT has entered the fallout after Stand Delivered this past Saturday. As you know, we witnessed, of course, Obafemi retaining the NXT Championship, Stephanie Vakir retaining the NXT Women's Championship, and then, of course, Ricky Saints making his retaining the North American Championship. But however, we did witness the crowning of brand new champions. For example, Hank and Tank beating Fraxium for the NXT Tag Team Championships, and of course the crowning of the vacancy of the NXT Women's North American Championship. But also we witnessed the stunning shocking of the betrayal of the Channing Stack Lorenzo to the Dawn of NXT, Tony D'Angelo. But I think many of us question, where do we go from here? Well, that's a very good question because that's something that we go from there. But however, let's begin, of course, with the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. Judgment Day, consistent of Liv Morgan and Raquel Gonzalez, make their defense against, of course, Gigi Dolan and Tatum Paxley. Now, for those who remember, I did not witness Raw. I did see that I did hear that Liv Morgan and Raquel Gonzalez regained the belts on Monday. So that kind of was like, what the fudge? You know what I mean? So that's how it is. So many people probably would have loved to see Gigi Dolan and Tatum Paxley win the belts, but nope. We did see a great cohesion from Raquel Gonzalez and Liv Morgan when Liv applied the Oblivion onto Gigi Dolan, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, both Raquel and Liv retained the women's tag team belts. Now, if you guys know these Las Vegas magicians, Penn and Teller, they kind of were messing around with Lexis King. They actually made his NXT Cup disappear, but they said that they're willing to give it back to him under the condition that he will defend the belt, the title, of course, on this coming Tuesday, which he did. So we'll get to that. Now, of course, there was a glimpse of course, Charlie Dempsey and Tavion Heights be involved in Bloodsport during WrestleMania week. Well, the remaining members of No Quarter Catch Crew, Miles Bourne and Ren Sinclair, in fact, were trying to ask. Ren was kind of asking Miles Bourne, "Why weren't you involved in this?" And Bourne replied, I wasn't even asked." Until Dark State showed up, decided to act like they think they know. They were telling, of course, Ren Sinclair and Miles Bourne that they're nothing but dead weight, that it's best for No Quarter Catch Crew to just, of course, call it quits. But however, Javon Evans decided to stand toe-to-toe against Dark State, but Miles Bourne decided to stand by him, knowing that Dark State, as you know, recently, not too long ago, attacked No Quarter Catch Crew, so that would make sense. So we will see that match a little later. Now, Ricky Saints, as you probably know, is proud of defending, of course, the NXT North American Championship against Ethan Page. However, it seems that someone decided that I'm coming for the belt instead, and that is, of course, Lexis King. But however, Lexis King has to defend the NXT Heritage Cup, so he has to focus on that. Now, in the back, we did see So Ruka and Zarya, along with Tank and Tank, celebrating, of course, championship goal. We did see, of course, So Ruka is our new North American Women's Champion, and Hank and Tank actually winning tag belts. Of course, they had a surprise visit from Tehel, who was celebrating. But of course, Tehel was so energetic, realizing, she was enjoying what she saw, what she was part of in the ladder match. She said she would love to do it again. But of course, someone decided to get involved with Thea Hale, Jada Parker, Kalani Jordan, and Fatal Influence feel that you've been gone for months and things have changed. But we'll see how that rolls up because Fallon Henley will be facing against Thea Hale a little later. Now, back into the ring, we did see the NXT Heritage Cup defended. Alexis King defends the belt against former Heritage Cup champion. We haven't seen him for quite some time, Noam Dar. So that's right. So Noam Dar is back. So I wasn't too sure how long we were going to see him, but it's great to see him. But at the same time, we ask ourselves, how good is his ring rust? Well, I have to say he is in good shape, but somehow he was able to outsmart Lexis King, give him a striking elbow to the face, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, regain the NXT Heritage Cup. Now, Roxanne Perez, as you know, had an interview because of recent timings. Well, apparently she is going to be facing against Stephanie Vakir for the NXT Women's Championship. She feels that, she doesn't know what's like to be in the spotlight with all this stuff and that happening. But we'll see where that goes from there. Now, we did see Fallon Henley versus Thea Hale, as you know. Apparently, as you know, Thea Hale has not been seen since Chase U was disbanded. However, seems Thea Hale has now evolved herself. I was surprised because she was able to put, of course, Fallon Henley in the Kimura lock, and just like that, she tapped out. But the real question we ask ourselves, what does this mean for Fatal Influence? Because right now they have not been in a good solid state since losing the NXT North American Women's Championship. So we'll see where that goes from there. Now, of course, Obafemi, as you know, defended his championship in a three-way match against, of course, Javon Evans and Trick Williams. But however, Trick Williams, as you know, he is still not done. He is still trying to reclaim what he lost. But however, say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. Well, yep, he showed up. But what I like about this is this. Joe Hendry said, even though I might have lost in my WrestleMania moment, but at least I was there. Where were you, Trick Williams? I didn't see you there. You were in the stands watching. And of course, that hit a nerve. But he did point it out this. He said, you remember how we tagged about last fall, but now you become nothing more than a whining little bitch. Which is true, because here's the thing. Joe Hendry has been witnessing what's been going on. Trick Williams, he's been once again complaining, trying to get the NXT Championship back. But Joe Hendry wasn't there just to talk about that. It appears that he has his own agenda. Seems he wants to challenge Obafemi, but Obafemi warned him, don't act like Moose. I mean, Joe Hendry is nothing like Moose. But of course, Trick Williams felt like I had enough. Like he was, in fact, trying to get in, like was not having it. The fact that people keep getting in his way to regain the NXT Championship. But, well, Hendry and Obafemi just tossed him out. So we'll see where that goes. Now, Starks, as you know, was having an interview. Hold on. Stacks, my bad. Not Stacks, my bad. Stacks, as you know, we haven't seen him since what happened in Stand and Deliver when he betrayed Tony D'Angelo while he met up with Luca Crucifina in the middle of nowhere. But however, something has happened. He told him, did you ever figure out why I called you out here? Well, it seems like Luca Crucifino realized that he is in a predicament. We don't know what happened. He was about to say, oh, you know what? So that's how it ends. Now, we did see Soruka and Zaire, as you know, interview with Sarah about, of course, a few things until Liv Morgan and Raquel Gonzalez got it in their face. But Soruka warned her, if you keep this up, I might take those belts off of you. So we'll see where that goes from there. I mean, I'm sure people would see that. But however, we did see Trick Williams in a temper tantrum because, as you know, I've been saying this. For a while, he's been trying to find a way to get his NXT Championship back, but things have not been going well for him. So General Manager Ava had no choice but to, of course, escort him out. Now, our next match, we have Miles Bourne and Javon Evans teaming up to take on Dark State, consistent of Dion Lennox and Osiris Griffin. But man, Dark State, as you know, has shown a new type of breed. Basically, they were able to take out Miles Bourne, and of course Griffin picked up the win. So the real question is, where do we go from here? That's an obvious thing we're going to see. Now, Ava, as you know, has been in the back. She met up with, of course, with Sean Spears. Apparently, I don't know what they were talking about, but yeah. But of course, Ava had a little run-in with Yoshiki Inamura, who in fact is giving them, of course, that his time with NXT is almost up. That he felt that he let Josh Briggs down, knowing that he did not win the chance to get the NXT tag team belts. So Josh Briggs thought he was about to cry until Ava decided, why not? I'll give you guys another opportunity next week. So that's gonna happen. So that's something we're gonna see down the road. Now, Tony D'Angelo, as you know, has not been himself since he was betrayed by someone that he trusted, that he knew since childhood. So he went up to see Adriana Rizzo, asking her how she's doing. So of course Adriana Rizzo is caught in the middle of this. She known Stacks a lot longer than Tony, because of course that she mentioned in story-wise that he was the one who taught her how to fight back. But Tony D'Angelo is worried about her because right now no one knows where Luca Crucifino went. So that's a very interesting question that we don't know. Now, in the back, Sarah conducts an interview with Ricky Starks. As you know, it seems now he made the announcement that he will give Lexis King an opportunity of the NXT North American Championship until he ran into Ethan Page, but he was viciously attacked by Lexis King, blaming him for the loss of the Heritage Cup. Well, that was not his fault, but this is what happened. Now, a little interesting video promo showed up. Someone was walking in some halls, and it turned out to be Andre Chase, and looks like Chase U is back in business. So can't wait to see what's going to happen. Now, I don't know if the remaining Riley Osborne, if they will return. That is a good question. We don't know where they're going to go from here. Now, our main event is the NXT Women's Championship. Roxanne Perez challenging for this title against Stephanie Vakir. Now, Vakir, as you know, she is the type of person who can step up the challenge. So far, so good. She has been in a good position. I mean, when she was double champion, she never lost both belts. But being in a four-way match, that was a different story. But now she's facing against Roxanne Perez because Perez believes she's under pressure. But Stephanie was able to retain her belt when she applies the SVP, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. However, in the post-match, Julia showed up. It seems like she's probably going to ask for her rematch, but she's not the only one who has her sights set on the NXT Women's Championship. So is the juggernaut, Jordan Grace. So we'll see what happens from here on out. So can't wait to see next week, but we'll see too next. But as of right now, we are officially done with our reviews. Let's move on with, of course, news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news updates. So let's begin as always with upcoming events with the promotions. First up, we have, of course, DPW. As you know, we're almost close to the upcoming 2-day event in Japan. Spirit Rising, there's 2 nights now. However, night 1 they announced will be on the 24th in Shinjuku Face. We got Miyuki Takase will be facing off against T-Heart's very own Miku Kane. Sendai Girls has finally confirmed the Satomura final. As you know, Satomura will be retiring on April 29th, and it's going to happen in Korakuen Hall. However, the match their final match has been now announced. Meiko Satomura will team up with Nanami, and they'll take on Aja Kong and, of course, Big Hash herself, Chihiro Hashimoto. So that's going to be an epic match. Now, Miyu Yamashita, as you know, she is back traveling, appearing in various independent promotions all over the US and now in Canada. It was recently announced by a Canadian promotion based out of Edmonton, Top Talent Wrestling. She'll be making her appearance on the 2nd of May, and she'll be facing off against Ava Lawless. Now, that name sounds familiar to me. I might have heard that name either during AEW Dark Times or of course, probably Ring of Honor. Who knows? GCW announced another match has been announced for the upcoming LA show on the 3rd of May. Scary, crazy, spooky, hilarious. The GCW World Tag Team belts will be defended. Alec Price will defend his championship along with Jordan Oliver to take on Subculture, Flash Morgan Webster, and Mark Andrews. Another entrant name for the upcoming NWA Crockett Cup tournament that will take place on the 17th of May. The next next tag team that's been announced, Slime Balls. Yep, so they are now part of it. Another championship match has been added for the West Coast Pros upcoming event when the lights go down in the city. That will take place on the 30th of May. The West Coast Pro Tag Team belts will be defended. Juan Carl Manders and Thomas Shire will defend the championship against former tag champions, those dickheads, Los Suavecitos. Yeah, so once again, we may see their shenanigans, but who knows. Thailand Promotion setup has announced for their upcoming episode 22, The Fallen Kingdom. Also on the 31st of May, they announced the return of Zack Sabre Jr., so he will be participating in this event. Now, names have been announced for the upcoming Jersey Championship Wrestling, which is JCW, for Rec Sports Pro Wrestling on the 12th of June. 4 names have been announced. Mad Dog Connolly, who makes his return. However, 3 more names have been added who are debuting in this show. We have Ava Everett, Gypsy May, and Darian Bankston. I don't know who that guy is. And finally, as you know, Stark Yoshi Puroresu of America made their return back in Las Vegas during WrestleMania week. Well, they just announced that they will be making another appearance in June, this time in Texas. But more details have not been announced just yet. I'm sure that the details will be added as we go along, as we get closer to the date. So I think that's pretty much it with the upcoming events. So let's talk about developments. Fightful Select reports that Mexican promotion AAA Lucha Libre has announced that Alberto El Patron, or as we knew him in WWE, Alberto Del Rio, has been released from AAA. Now, it's still unclear what was going on from there, but as you all know, I'm not sure if this has something to do with the acquisition that WWE purchased AAA. I'm sure many people, I don't know if they have any plans for him. I know there's been talks about him possibly returning to WWE, but it appears WWE has no interest in him. That is still an unknown question about that, but we'll see. Kenny Omega went on social media recently, talked about how people were rambling about an AEW mixed tag team tournament. I mean, he seems like he's interested of that, but he said that if there was going to be something like that, there's 2 wrestlers he would love to team up with. It's either going to be Starlight Kid or Azumi. I mean, personally, I would like to see him team up with Starlight Kid. You know, that would be awesome. Actwres Girls has announced that their ring announcer, Yumi Agawa, will be leaving the company on June 1st. So basically, it's still unclear what's going to happen afterwards, but they're telling the fan base that Yumi Agawa will be leaving soon. As you all know, recently in WrestleMania, Joe Hendry was the mystery opponent to face off Randy Orton. However, it was reported that there was another potential name that they wanted to put in to face off Randy Orton, and that name is none other than Jeff Hardy, which of course would have been cooler, but this is the decision they made. As you all know, we witnessed Rusev, or formerly known as Miro, made his return to WWE recently. Well, apparently, if you guys remember, Aiden English, or goes now by Matthew Rehwoldt, well, apparently, as you know, he put this on his social media. He said this: technically, I'm still a free agent. So basically, it seems like he will love nothing more to reunite with Rusev and do the whole Rusev thing that we saw. I mean, which was one of the greatest moments of that time. So hopefully they consider doing that again. Bring that part of history back again. But we'll see. But right now, as you know, Matthew Rehwoldt is currently as a commentator with TNA. That is still an unclear thing. Yoshi wrestler Nanami from World Women's Pro Wrestling Diana, or just simply Diana, has announced that on April 27th, she'll be go by the name of Nanami Hatano. It's still unclear why, but that's going to be her ring name going forward after the 27th of April. Now, as you all know, recently, Bea Priestley, or as we know her, Blair Davenport, recently was, of course, released from WWE. Well, she broke her silence about that, and this is what she had to say. So let me pull it up so I can read her statement on that. Okay, this is what she says. I was part of the biggest release, and I think it was just budget cuts to make their contracts. I don't have any negative feelings or anything like that. It's just a job, isn't it? It's business. It's just the way it goes. I'm excited for what's coming in the future. I'm excited to kind of get back to my roots a bit, to do my own thing again. I would love to do stuff in Japan. I love to do stuff in the UK, and I'm excited to actually do indies in America because I never actually done the indies here at all. So yes, I'm excited for the future. Don't be upset for me. It's fine. It's the job, isn't it? It's the way it goes. But I'm really happy for all the friends who's still there. Obviously, Laria, who is one of my best friends, just had a massive WrestleMania moment, and she's the only one been in the company on the main roster since I was. So that's huge for her. Since same with Tiffany, really happy for her, Tiffany, that she's getting big spotlight. And then I'm excited for people like Roxanne, Cora, and all those who coming girls are obviously going to get called up again. And Julia, of course, Julia is my drinking buddy. So I'm very excited to see how my friends, and Piper as well. Piper was my road trip buddy. But yes, I'm excited for the future. You guys will definitely see me wrestling somewhere or other. So yes, don't worry, I'm not going to disappear forever. So basically, she's throwing a positive vibe, saying that she's excited what she's going to do next. So you heard what she said. She's considering badly going back to Japan and probably doing some events in the UK, but she never got the chance to wrestle in the indies here in the US. But I'm asking any subscribers, if you have any independent promotions in your area, if you want to bring her along, I have to say, get a hold of the promoter and see if you guys can get her. I don't know the information on her, so um, hopefully I can find that information somewhere, but we'll see. So I think that's pretty much it for our news updates and everything else. Let's call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, as you know, we have AEW Dynamite. We still don't know what's going to happen afterwards. As you know, we have brand new AEW World Trios Champions and all this and that. We don't just know. And I think we have a WWE Evolved. I haven't decided there's going to be other I want to review. I mean, there's a bunch that I need to catch up on. I haven't decided exactly how they're going to go, but let's just wing it, guys. So that's the idea. So as of right now, AEW Dynamite and WWE Evolved are, of course, the top priority. So until then, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye, and have a nice day.